Hello everyone, welcome to the Model Context Protocol demo series. The previous video was the introductory video. There we have seen a quick walkthrough of all the use cases we are trying to achieve in the entire series. From this video, we'll start the actual hands-on demo. If you haven't watched the introductory video, I'll add the link in the description and notification. You can watch that. In the first video, we'll see how to build an MCP server called to-do list using Python. And that MCP server is going to have add task, list task, and complete task functions. And we'll see how to interact to this MCP server using Claude Desktop and GitHub Copilot. In the second video, we'll build a very simple network automation MCP server, where if you give instruction to the server, this will be able to run a command, get the interface details, assign IP, and delete loopback. In the third video, we'll see how to build a to-do list app with date support. There, if user gives the date in the instruction, this would be able to parse that date and add it in the JSON file. In the fourth video, we'll build an MCP client using the library called MCP use, and we'll try to interact with this to-do list app. In the fifth video, we'll see how to use Playwright MCP server. It is a pre-built MCP server available. We can install it using npm command. Playwright helps you to programmatically interact with browser sessions. We'll see how to run this from Postman and GitHub Copilot. So let's get started, and we'll try to build these apps. One is a to-do list MCP server simple, and this will be adding the data into this particular JSON file. Then we'll build a to-do MCP server with date. Then we'll see how to create a network controller, then how to create an MCP client. For the demo, first I'll create a directory here. I will call this MCP demo new. From the VS Code, I'll click on new window, open. From the Git directory, I'll open this. Now we'll close this session. Let us go to the documentation. First, we'll see how to install the MCP server. Go to the Python SDK documentation. So here they have given command to install MCP server. Here they are using UV. I already have a video on UV. UV is a high performance Python package manager and installer. You can even use virtual env. I have already created a video on how to install UV and set up the environment. I'll add that video also in the description and notification. So first we need to initialize a project. I'll close this as well. Go to terminal, new terminal. I'll zoom in the session. I'll give UV init to-do list underscore apps, enter. Now you can see it has created a directory with all the required files for the project. Then we need to give this command, UV add MCP CLI. All these I explained in the UV demo. Currently we don't have any dependencies, but if I give UV add MCP CLI, enter. Now this is looking for the pyproject.toml file. It is inside to-do list apps. So I need to get into the directory, to-do list app. I'll give UV add, and here we can see it has added the library in the dependencies. First, I'll just show you how to run this particular server. We can delete this file. I'll create a file called to-do list app simple.py, paste it, and it is not able to detect this particular Python interpreter. For that, what we can do, shift command P and select interpreter. From here, bin, I'll copy this path, enter interpreter path, I'll paste it here, enter. Now this will be able to detect this particular environment for the project. And this is a very simple function. This is just adding two numbers and returning the data. This is called decorator. When we use decorators, what happens is it takes this particular function, add as an argument, and it wraps with the tools function, which is already available in the MCP. Here, this is helping to extend the functionality of tools. So the decorator actually enhances code reusability. Later, I'll create a detailed video on decorators, but we can just use this is standard approach. And in the introductory video, we have even seen what is resources, what is tools, and prompts. These are some of the major components in MCP server. Now, if you want to test this particular MCP server using MCP Inspect, what we can do is we can give uv run MCP dev and the file name to-do list app, enter. And you can see here it is using authentication. Let me simply copy paste this. I'll click on connect. So it is not connecting. The reason for that is in the recent MCP Inspect, they are adding even authentication. Now let me just copy this, put it here, enter, click on connect. Now this is getting connected. Now if you want to disable this authentication, what we can do is we need to add additional key value in the environment variable. We can give dangerously omit auth true. We'll try to set that as well. I'll copy this. I'll create a file dot env. I'll put this. Then within our MCP server, I'll give from dot env import load dot env. Then we just need to call that. Now let us try running this again. Now you can see here authentication is disabled. We can now directly access it, but it is recommended to have authentication. I just wanted to show how to disable that using environment variable. Now if you go to tools and list tools, we can see one particular function called add. We give 5 and 10 and we are getting the output. This means this particular MCP server is working. And under resources, we can give list template, get greeting, and this name value is coming from here, enter name. It is prompting for enter name. I'll give them. So it is responding. So in this way, we can use resources and tools. This is a very simple example on how to use MCP Inspect for checking your MCP server. Now we'll start building the to-do list app. I'll give the name here, to-do list simple, and we can delete all these. I'll create a variable here, task file. The entire task details we are going to store in a JSON file. Copy the path, paste it here, and I'll give to do underscore task dot JSON. This can even be an external source or any other location. Here, I'm just trying to do a very simple example. Then I'll add two functions. So one is for loading the task. So what it is doing here is, if there is no file called to do task.json, it will simply create that file. And if file is already there, it will open that file and return it for the function. Here we need to import JSON and even voice as well. Then we'll call this function task equal to load task. Now, if you want to run this particular Python script, you can give uv run to do list app, enter. Now, if you notice here, it has created the file, but the content is empty because we haven't added any task in the JSON. Additionally, we'll add one more function to save the task. We'll be using all these functions in the actual MCP tools. So this will just open the file and save the content. So we'll be passing task inside this, and it will save that content into the file. Here now we'll add a tool called add task, and this is decorator. So this is going to wrap this particular function with the MCP tools, and this will help to extend the functionality of the tools. Now we need to add a description for the function, and this is not mandatory. Like, we are just saying that okay, tasks are going to be string and the function is going to finally return a string. If you remove this and this, still the code will work. Then here we can see we are using the global next ID. The keyword global will help you to refer to a variable defined outside the function. So that means once you start running the script, you want to increment the ID of each task which you are going to add it into the to-do list task. So to increment that, what we'll do, we will try to refer a global variable. We'll see without this global as well what will happen. And to get the ID, we'll add another logic here. And this particular function will be saving the input task into the file. To test this, what we can do is we can run this particular function separately. I'll give add task, go for tracking, and we'll try running this. And if you check here, it is adding the data. Now second time it is adding ID 2. And here, even if we don't have this global next ID, we are initializing script every time. So because of that, this will keep on adding the next ID. I'll comment this as well. You can see here it is adding because we are initializing the code separately every time. But without this, if we try running this within MCP Inspect, let me just run this from MCP Inspect, uv run MCP dev to-do list, enter. We'll refresh this, connect, go to tools, list tools, add task. Now bike ride, run tool, Now here what happens is it is even running this particular function. Because of that it is getting triggered. I'll just comment this. We don't have to add this. Now we'll try running this again. But still you can see it is already retaining the ID 7. I'll add client meeting run tool. I need to connect it again. List tools, client meeting. So it is 8. Now I'll add another task, learn AI run tool. You can see here it is still retaining 8. The reason for that is once we initialize the code, it won't be going here for incrementing the task ID. Now I'll cancel this. We'll enable global here. Now I'll run it again. Disconnect, connect, list tools, learn Python, run tool. You can see here now it is incrementing. Learn Gen AI. So it will be keep on incrementing the ID. I hope you understood why we are using global here. Similar way, I'll add another tool here for complete task. And in this function, we are passing task ID as the input, and it will mark the particular task as completed. It will change to completed true. This will iterate through all the tasks which we are reading from here. Then if task ID is already completed, it will return a message saying that task is already completed. And if it is not completed, it will mark it as completed, and using the save task function, it will save into the file. And finally, it returns task marked as completed. And if you're not able to find the ID, this will say task is not found. I'll add one more function here called list task. This will help you to list all the tasks. So if this task is empty, it will return your to-do list is empty. Then finally it will be iterating through each task, and then if status is completed, it will print a green tick mark, else it will be printing a clock symbol. Then finally it is just appending with the ID and task, and we'll be getting the data. So we'll test it from the MCP Inspect first. Cancel this, run it again. And if you're using authentication, you always have to copy paste the link with the token. Disconnect, connect, list task, and now we have 3 tools available. I'll give list task, and here we can see all the task details. And if we go to the complete task, I'll give task ID 10 as completed, run, and task 10 marked as completed. We can check that in the JSON file. So now it is true. Same like that, I can do task 9. So now it is marking task 9 as completed. Now we'll see how to run this from Cloud Desktop. Let me open Cloud Desktop. Go to settings. Under developer, we can see all the existing MCP servers. What I'll do, I'll click on edit config. So this will be opening this directory, cloud desktop config.json. I'll double click that and it has opened in VS Code. Earlier I was testing with an MCP server in different directory. You can see here it was MCP demo to-do list. I will call this to-do manager, then copy this path, paste it here. So now it will be using this particular MCP server. And this was for the date parser. We are using one additional library, but it is okay to keep it here. Now we need to exit the cloud desktop once and we'll open it again. Click on tools, and here we can see the new tool which we created: add task, complete task, and list task. I'll give part the pending task, enter. So now this knows that, okay, I'm just trying to trigger the MCP server. So it is listing out everything. Learn Python and Gen AI are completed task. Then all these are like pending tasks. Now I'll give mark client meeting as completed. Okay, it is automatically passing the task ID and marking this as completed. You can check that. If you remember, we were testing this without the global variable for the task ID. Because of that it came, but in our current code everything is proper. So in this way you can add your MCP server into Cloud Desktop. Now we'll see how to access this from GitHub Copilot. I'll delete all these files and in the VS Code I'll go to settings. I'll search for MCP, edit settings in JSON, and here I already have a couple of servers. Here also earlier I added another to-do manager simple, and you can see the directory here. Now instead of this I will put our current server. So it is MCP demo new to-do list app simple.py. Click on start. It is running. Click on Copilot. Then we need to change this to agent. So it is saying that new tools available. I'll click on the settings here. And this many MCP servers are there in my system. Something called LAN scanner, then network device controller. MCP server time, Playwright. And here we can see global in code. This means it is within this VS code, and in some places you will be able to see from Cloud Desktop. That means it is reading it from even that Cloud Desktop JSON config file which we opened earlier, but we need to edit or use whatever is there in the global in code. And we can see our server here from global in code. Now here I'll ask, what are the pending tasks in to do list app? Enter. So it is saying that there are no pending tasks in the to do list app. Now give add tracking in the to do list. Enter. So you can see here it is passing the task tracking, and it is even identifying the function add task. And currently this list is empty. I'll give continue. So it has added with ID. Then add client meeting in to-do list. Enter. Give continue. So it is adding the data. Now we'll give mark client meeting as completed in to-do list. So it is passing the task ID 2 in the function complete task. Give continue. So it is changed to true. In this way we can create a very simple MCP server and test it from MCP Inspect, then Cloud Desktop and GitHub Copilot. In the next video, we will try to build a network device controller, and later we'll add even the date support for the to-do list app, and we'll try to interact with the same to-do list app using a Python MCP client. I hope this video was helpful. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.